Now we'll go to the adjournment motion by the leader of minority, Honorable Wandayi. You will have 10 minutes. Every other speaker will have strictly 5 minutes. This motion will not be seconded. I'm just saying that for those ones who are volunteering to second. This Honorable Opiyo Wandayi.
How many minutes do I have? 20?
Yes.
20, okay.
You have
20.
You have 10 minutes.
Only 10.
10 minutes only. Every other speaker, 5 minutes, strictly.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. Of course, I am rising under Standing Order 33, 1 of the standing orders, to move this motion. Madam Speaker, as I alluded to earlier on, we are facing unprecedented times in this country. Madam Speaker, it is the first time in the history of this country, since we attained our independence way back in 1963, that the government of the Republic of Kenya has failed to pay its workers, specifically civil servants, their salaries. As we speak, we have got thousands and thousands of workers who are yet to receive their March salaries. And today we are on the 11th of April, Madam Speaker. And there is no indication as to when these salaries will be paid, if at all they'll be paid, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we are advised that a nation or a country is like a going concern. It's like a going concern, really. But any time, and accountants here can tell you, any time a going concern fails or defaults in paying its workers, it is basically teetering on bankruptcy. And therefore, it will be safe to say that Kenya is almost becoming bankrupt, if it is not yet bankrupt, Madam Speaker. And this is no idle talk. This is very serious matter, Madam Speaker. This is very serious matter, Madam Speaker. That this country is becoming bankrupt as we watch, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it is not just about salary delays. As we speak, the county governments, the 47 of them, are facing serious financial crunch. Out of the 370 billion shillings, which is the equitable share that was supposed to go to the counties in this financial year, 2 months before the end of the financial year, only 141 billion shillings has been disbursed, Madam Speaker. And county governments are unable to pay their employees, leave alone providing essential services to the people of this country, Madam Speaker. As a matter of fact, there has been no remittance to the counties for the entire period of January to April this year, which is unprecedented. Even when we had the worst situation of COVID-19, this never happened, Madam Speaker. You would be forgiven to imagine that we are under some sort of war. What possibly could be happening, Madam Speaker? That's the question we're asking this afternoon, Madam Speaker. Above all, nearly all development projects have come to a halt. They have gone to a halt on account of lack of money, Madam Speaker. But then the question we're asking, where has the money gone? Madam Speaker, according to the estimates of revenue, grants and loans for the year ending 30th June this year, which we approved in this House last year, KRA had a target of 2.1 trillion shillings to collect in form of tax revenues. As at the end of February, KRA has only been able to collect 1.2 trillion shillings, which essentially amounts to 57% of the target. And yesterday we were being told through some unsigned statement, which ostensibly came from KRA in the name of acting Commissioner General. It was unsigned. I believe it was fake. That statement was saying that KRA has been able to collect 95% of its target, or attain 95% of its original target. That can't be true, because the tax revenue target can only be approved by this House. And I can confirm to you that even in the supplementary estimates which we passed here a couple of weeks ago, there was no variation in this target of tax revenue, Madam Speaker. And therefore, KRA has fallen short of its target, Madam Speaker. If they are disputing this, let them come out tomorrow and dispute these facts. I can tell you. I'll be happy to face them all head on. Madam Speaker, we have had contradictory statements emanating from KRA. One from the chairman of the board of directors of KRA, one Anthony Maura. He's on record saying that he's trying to drain the swamp in KRA, that there are officers in KRA who are predisposed to steal public money, and therefore he has to remove them, Madam Speaker. And yet the statement which supposedly came from KRA yesterday was disputing this fact. So who do we believe? Do we believe the KRA Board of Directors Chairman, or do we believe the KRA Commissioner General? Madam Speaker, who do we believe? Who do we believe? Madam Speaker, and if not to believe the Commissioner General, what the hell is the chairman of the KRA Board, who is supposed to be a ceremonial office holder, doing in issuing out executive orders, Madam Speaker? In any case, Madam Speaker, there are serious integrity issues surrounding the chairperson of KRA. I will table a report now. I will table this, therefore. Madam Speaker, on the 5th of October 2022, the Kenya Revenue Authority wrote to the Director, National Water Harvesting and Storage Authority regarding agency suspension notice on Todi Civil Engineering Company Limited, business number 154472. Madam Speaker, this letter had the effect of shutting down the account of Todi Civil Engineering Company Limited on account of tax evasion. This letter was written on 5th October and signed off by Mr. Paul Kirui, the Debt Manager, Medium Taxpayers Office, Madam Speaker, Corporate Taxpayer Account Management Division, Domestic Taxes Department. The upshot of this is that even as this gentleman was being appointed as the chairman of the board of directors of KRA, he had issues to do with tax evasion concerning his own company. Madam Speaker,
what's your point of order?
I am not aware if this issue was ever resolved.
Because order, Honorable Wandayi. What is your point of order?
Madam Speaker, the leader of minority is discussing a letter which is not in circulation, which he has not tabled before this House, and therefore I think you can't bring a document that is not been tabled before the Madam Speaker. So I think it's out of order to discuss something that is not tabled before this House.
You know, Honorable Kukosi knows very well that I've been in this House long enough.
Order, Honorable Wandayi.
Just as long as I have also been here, my friend.
Order, Honorable Wandayi. Order, Honorable Wandayi. Regardless of how long we have been in this House, I think we should follow our standing orders, ensure that any document you refer to is substantiated, and also refer to your own motion on the issues that we are discussing. Substantiate, and it has to be tabled and be property of the House if it should be discussed.
Madam Speaker, I table. You can scrutinize it, and I've got extra copies here for Honorable Kukosi and the rest. Madam Speaker, my time is not yet even halfway. Madam Speaker, even if we were to assume that the KRA is right in their suggestion that they ever achieve their target, then where is the money? Next week I'll be coming back here to discuss more about National Treasury, Madam Speaker. And therefore, it behoves the KRA and the National Treasury to tell us where our taxpayers' money has gone. Because for the first time in this country, we are failing to meet our very basic obligations as a country. Madam Speaker, as we speak, there is a threat already issued of retrenchment of hapless, poor civil servants. Madam Speaker, it was issued last night by none other than the chairman of the Economic Advisory, whatever. Madam Speaker, David Lee had the audacity to say that he is going to recommend retrenchment of poor civil servants. How dare you retrench poor workers? How dare you retrench poor hustlers while recruiting and appointing a necessary number of COS? How dare you retrench workers while creating offices for your spouses? How dare you retrench poor workers while buying expensive cars and...
What is your point of order? Order Wandayi. Member for
I raise pursuant to standing order number 91. Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, standing order number 91, its heading says responsibility for statement of fact. Madam Speaker, I have just noticed when I just walked in, I was shown this document which has been circulated to members and which is purportedly tabled by the Honorable Wandayi, the minority leader. It's a letter that is addressed to the Director, National Water Harvesting and Storage Authority. It talks about agency suspension notice to the Civil Engineering Company Limited. Madam Speaker, I was at the House Business Committee. I've looked at the motion of the minority leader. This letter has no relevance at all to the motion that is prosecuting and purporting to execute. Would I be in order? Would I be in order, Madam Speaker? Would I be in order, Madam Speaker? Would I be in order, Madam Speaker? You know, the difference between me and the Honorable John Mbadi is that he's a lawmaker and I'm a lawyer. So I multitask. So, and this is not your relevant field. Your field, I'm both a lawmaker and a lawyer, so you better listen to me. Listen first. So, Madam Speaker.
Wind up on the point of order.
Yes, would I be in order? You know, the only thing, Madam Speaker, is people shouting at you. You know, every civilized community listens. In fact, they say, if he reads the Bible says listen. The Bible says listen. So, people need to listen. One of the virtues of wisdom is listening. So,
if you have a point of order, please prosecute the point of order so that we are orderly. Yes, so that we are in. You have 1 minute. Finish up.
Madam Speaker, you know, the Honorable Wandayi cannot purport to be standing and interrupting me when I'm raising a point of order. You cannot be the one concluding. Honorable Speaker.
You are already on your feet.
Honorable Speaker, this purported notice has no relevance at all to the motion that is being moved by the Honorable Wandayi. And would I be in order, Madam Speaker, to request the Honorable Wandayi to withdraw or you expand this particular purported tabling of documents that are irrelevant to the motion, that it be completely taken out of this debate? I thank you.
Madam Speaker, I was getting worried that Honorable Chepkonga is usurping your power and mandate. Madam Speaker, I am very much relevant because I am talking about failure of the government of Kenya to meet its financial obligations, which failure is attributable to possible theft of money. And therefore, at the core of this theft could be the integrity of those who are in charge of KRA.
Order.
And the National Treasury.
Order.
So I am perfectly in order.
Order. I was actually going through your motion. Please take your seat. I was going through your motion, and I was also going through the letter that you have tabled, because we are a house of order, we are a house of debate. And this one, the letter you have tabled, is actually directed to National Water Harvesting and Storage Authority. Let us adhere to the rules of debate. This matter, if it's an issue of companies, we have committees in this house. In fact, all the oversight committees are led by the minority side. So I would actually say that the relevance to this, what we are discussing today, there is no congruence at all. There is no congruence. So I would... Order, members. Order, members. Order, members. Order. It is okay to ventilate, but this is a house of record. I will direct that you withdraw this letter officially and formally and prosecute your motion. You have a balance of 2 minutes, and then we will have 5 minutes for every member.
Let me say this. If you find this letter inadmissible, you can simply go ahead and expunge it. But I can't withdraw it, you know very well. I am not the person who can do irregular things. This letter is at the core of the issues in KRA. And I want you to confirm or disapprove the fact that this company belongs to the chairman of the KRA Board of Directors.
Honorable Chepkonga, what is your point of order?
Madam Speaker, this is a house of rules. I rise pursuant to Standing Order number 91. You know, this is a house of rules. You know, when the minority leader, who is supposed to observe decorum in this house and rules of procedure, and then threatens the speaker and tells the speaker, you can overrule me, but I'm not going to withdraw. That in itself, Madam Speaker, is throwing, and you know, Madam Speaker, how can we listen to a senior leader of the standing of Honorable Wandayi threatening the speaker and
Honorable Chepkonga, I will persuade you to tell you I'm also a seasoned politician. I am not a new member in this house, so I do not actually need protection, but I will actually need Honorable Opiyo Wandayi to actually adhere to that ruling. You will withdraw this letter, you will continue with the motion, and we will continue with the debate, and the rules of relevance will be adhered to.
Madam Speaker, you can only withdraw a statement you have made on the floor of the House if it is inappropriate. You cannot withdraw a document. A document, if it's admissible, you just expunge. Just expunge. And therefore, I'm not withdrawing anything. Madam Speaker, I conclude now.
Order, members.
Yes.
I therefore rule that this document is not admissible and will be expunged from the records of the House.
Fine. Madam Speaker, let me conclude that we cannot run away from the problems we are facing as a country. The government which is in power cannot run away from the problems that face the country by continuously scapegoating, by continuously backpassing to the old regime. There is this tired narrative of the handshake regime, handshake government. It is on record that there has never been a government known as handshake in this country. The past government was led by none other than Uhuru Kenyatta and deputized by none other than William Samoei Ruto. For 5 good years, you must take responsibility for the good things that government did and also own up for the bad deeds of that government. You cannot scapegoat. You cannot continue to find a scapegoat in Raila Amolo Odinga. We must caution you that scapegoating will...
Your time is up. These debates, for those who have just come in, we will have 5 minutes for every member. Anytime you get a chance, you have 5 minutes. We will start with the member for Endebess, Honorable Robert Pukose.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it is true that the economy is not doing well. But it is also true that we got ourselves in this position because of the previous government. Madam Speaker, when President Ruto took power, we remember that the government was broke. And we cannot run away from that. It is true, the government is not performing well. But it is true that that government got itself in that position because of the previous government. So you cannot run away from that. When President Ruto took over, the prices of unga was 250. Everything was skyrocketing. The country was sliding in the wrong direction. So we should give credit where it is due. We are on the right track from that recovery. And it's because of the economic remedies or positions which the government has done. We remember that the previous government borrowed left and right. You cannot say that we are paying everything, but we are paying through debts. We are paying through borrowing. So you cannot come and you cannot continue borrowing to pay for salaries. That is wrong. And therefore, you can, and having failed yourselves, because you are part of that government, through Raila Odinga, through the handshake, you cannot say now that you have a remedy for it. You don't. You don't, because the methods you prescribed. Let's talk of the subsidies that were there. The subsidy for unga, which was put there, never reached anybody. We went to the supermarkets, there was no unga. Yeah? Subsidies were put on fuel, but those subsidies did not benefit the fuel distributors. Instead, it benefited the fuel dealers. And people ended up opening more companies
Member for
so that they could pay
what is your
more
point of
money.
order?
No, Mbadi is sitting very well. Madam Speaker, the speaker on the floor is a friend of mine, a renowned doctor. And that's precisely why he must speak facts while on the floor of the House. I have heard him talk about mentioning names and talking about previous governments and saying that you are part of it. Can the speaker, can the person who is on the floor tell us exactly how Raila ever entered in that government and what role did he play in that government? How does it culminate into this discussion, and who was responsible for that executive in that government? If he cannot, I would invite you, Madam Speaker, to respectfully find him out of order and to ask him to withdraw those comments.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And thank you, the People's Chief Justice. You know very well.
Honorable Pukose, have you mentioned
Raila Odinga?
Yes, and I think
no, the Raila Odinga has been mentioned by the People's Chief Justice, and he knows very well that Raila Odinga facilitated state capture through the handshake. And he's the one who saw Raila Odinga in Uhuru back.
Order, members.
And that's how Raila Odinga got himself into government through you are swearing in.
Order, Honorable Pukose. I think, honorable members, however emotive this issue is, we are a house of records. So let us follow our rules. Make sure you do not discuss a member without a motion. And I think we will be orderly and disciplined that way. So let us keep it to the motion, okay? Member for Endebess, please continue and finish up. You have a few minutes to go.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to state categorically that we cannot blame the government that has not even implemented this budget. The budget that we are currently implementing is the budget of the former government. What we've only done is to do supplementary budget to try and align with the government agenda.
Your time is up. Member for Kathiani, Honorable Robert Mbui.